reach down into the depths of my soul. I go within and I open up my heart to the one and only true source. My soul is open.
Groundhog Day, I got the blues. Quarantine blues. On tour in Chicago, that March day on top of the world. Things were going my way, started hearing about a virus, a tragic ordeal. When I got back to Nashville, it was getting real. All my shows canceled left and right. Things were gonna get worse when I'm leaving inside. I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. We started closing up shops, closed the schools, closed down the churches and the honky-tonks too, closed the restaurants, closed the parks, rolling up the sidewalks after dark. The biggest thrills at the grocery store, fighting over toilet paper, and then I said, Ma, I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. Where your dog can get a bath, but you can't cut your hair, and unless it's essential, you can't go anywhere. You better be sure when you leave your home, they're tracking every move on your cell phone. Never thought I'd live to see this nightmare called a new reality. I got the blues. Quarantine blues, I got the blues. Yeah, quarantine blues. I wish that virus would go away. I'm in a real life version of Groundhog Day. I got the blues. Quarantine blues. I got the blues, yeah. Quarantine blues.
For the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. For the greater good of all, the greater good of all, the greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, the greater good of all. We are here for the greater good of all, the greater good of all, greater good of all, greater good of all.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, yeah.
Hello and welcome to the People of Diversity Sunday service. We are a multi-faith community and we believe that there are many paths to one divinity. So what does that mean for you sitting at home watching a Facebook replay or the Sunday morning service or YouTube video or whatever you might be doing? We have 10 different faith perspectives. Along with that, we have 10 different musical artists. Full disclosure, we have 8 presently, looking for 2 more, doubling up on some folks. And we have an amazing tech person. Becky and I say hello and goodbye. And everybody, week by week, sends in their material. And Magic Tech Man, Philip Lupo, turns it into a Sunday service that you're enjoying right now. This week, or this series is Responsibility. It's been amazing already. If you would like to join us in this endeavor, you can check in at www.peopleofdiversity.org. Push the donate button in the middle of the page or the top of the page?
Middle
of the page. And you can join and commit at any level that you so desire. I think that's all I know.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Whoop, whoop.
Last week we had our Baha'i representative, Dean Martineau, and his musical person was Andrew Bentham Riley. Today we are having our Native American representative, Will Davis, and his musical guests are Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer. And next week will be Rabbi Pat Hickman, and her musical accompaniment is Daniel Capel. So past services are available on the People of Diversity Facebook group or Facebook page. Just go on there. One of them, I can't remember which, you hit the live button, and other ones are just down the page. And you can go there. Also on our YouTube channel, which is up and running and awesome, you can go there and use the playlist function to see. You can search by faith, or you can search by topic. So say, for example, you want to see all the talks from the Baha'i people. You could do that, or you could pick a category like responsibility and see all the different talks on that. So that's a really, really cool resource. Following the morning service, we'll be doing our live Zoom deep dive, and the link for that is at the bottom of the page, and we'll post that as well in the feed. That lasts from 11:45 till 12:15.
Precisely.
Precisely, because we don't want to run over, because It's
Still
Super
your
Bowl
day.
Sunday, and we got things to do this
There's
evening.
important things.
That's right. We have a second broadcast of the morning service at 5:45 p.m. on Sundays, and you can go there. It will be a rebroadcast of the morning service. Excuse me one second. Oop. There we go. And you can get Facebook notifications easily if you're doing Facebook by just going to the Pod People of Diversity page or group and ask to join. We let you in, and then on Sunday morning you'll get a little ding that you can just press the button and be here. It's easy. So every week we bless a country. So if you have any fun facts or anything about the country, especially the country we're doing next week, because I'd never even heard of it, and I had to look it up to see how to pronounce it. It is Kiribati. Kiribati. So if you know anything at all about Kiribati, send it to me, and we will use it in our country blessing.
Never even heard of it. Never mind know anything about it.
Well, and like I said, I had to look up how to pronounce it properly. So it is. This week we are doing Kenya. And I have to admit, I had some predisposed notions about Kenya, and they were all wrong. So, I like that. Kenya is located in East Africa on the Indian Ocean. It's about the size of Texas and has 52.6 million people. They are very religiously diverse. This is one of the things that surprised me. Very religiously diverse. 33% Protestant, 21% Roman Catholic, 20% evangelical, 11% Muslim, and 15% of other religions or atheist. And apparently freedom of religion is very important, even to the government in that country. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Swahili and English are the two official languages, but there are around 66 more languages spoken in Kenya. So not only diverse religiously, but culturally as well. I really like this one. Kenya has never experienced an event of major civil unrest, and it is politically stable. Tourism is growing and is resulting in a growing economy.
Wow.
Yeah. There are 50 nationally owned parks and reserves in Kenya, and Kenya is home to the Big Five group of mammals, and those are the African lion, the African leopard, the African elephant, the Cape buffalo, and the rhinoceros. And Kenya is considered to be the world's leading safari destination. It's on my list for sure. 75% of the people work in agriculture, and coffee is the most important export. More than $40.2 million were sold in 2021. This is coming from a place the size of Texas, remember? Coffee is considered to be so valuable that most of the locals don't even drink it, and very little coffee is sold within the country.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Kenya has produced the world's most successful long-distance runners. A marathon is nothing to them. And here's our last fact. This is another really cool one. The first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize was from Kenya. It was Wangari Maathai in 2004. She was an activist who won for her contribution to sustainable development, democracy, and peace.
Trees. She planted trees.
Yeah, so let's hold the people of Kenya in our hearts, knowing they want the same things in their lives that we want in ours. We wish them continued abundance and beauty. Seems like they have a good balance between the natural and the economy and those sorts of things, and that's all backed by their government. So they are indeed very fortunate. And we bless them, and we say these words together. May peace prevail in Kenya. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in me. Thank you.
So Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer once again swoop in to save the day. And we will get 2 more videos from them on responsibility. We are coupling them this week with Will Davis and responsibility. Without further ado, we'll see you on the other side.
In this moment, everything shows up, everything presents itself just as it is. And when you slow down, let it all happen. Something fantastic, magic happens in you. And when you breathe in, it's like we're all listening to an echoing of our own souls. And when you breathe out, it's just like a rain cloud. Relief, it comes pouring down on a thirsty world. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. A separation. To a mind that's still becomes a cup that's filled with effervescence, ever-presence, and a heart that swells. And when you drink from this to never-ending peacefulness, don't have to believe in this. It's a story that tells itself. And when you breathe in, it's like we're all listening to an echoing of our own souls. And when you breathe out, it's just like a rain cloud. Relief, it comes pouring down on a thirsty world. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. We are one when we are all together, and we are one when we are all alone. We are one when we are all together, and we are one when we are all alone. Have you ever been here? Have you ever stayed here? Have you never left here for more than a glance? Have you ever faced this? Have you ever tasted this? There's a relief in the sweetness. Every moment is another chance. And just breathe in, it's like we're all listening to an echoing of our own souls. And when you breathe out, it's just like a rain cloud. Relief, it comes pouring down on a thirsty world. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. Meditation is a medication to cure the illusion of a separation. Oh, Namah Shivaya. Oh, Namah Shivaya. Oh, Namah Shivaya. Oh, back, it's not where you're going. The road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. You can look back, but just don't stand. Own your truth and claim your worth, and bless your path. It could have been worse, but don't even more than a glance, because you are so much more. You are more than the dreams that never came true, more than the doors that closed on you, more than the hearts that tried to break yours in two. But your hands are in the dirt, turning it over and over and over again. And they say, don't look back, it's not where you're going. The road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. You could look back, but just don't stare. Just don't stare. Well, these years go by, the lesser all matters, 'cause here and now is the seat of your power. Staring back at the wake has never made a ship go anywhere. And they said, don't look back, it's not where you're going. The road in front, that's where you're growing. But sometimes in your mind, you wanna go there. Well, you could look back, but just don't stare. Just don't stare. Just don't stare.
We love you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I've been asked to talk about responsibility, and I think when it comes to responsibility, there's something that I think people don't realize, and that is responsibility is inevitable. You'll either be responsible or it'll be put onto you. And in my opinion, I would rather make my own decision about my responsibilities. And if you think about that word, responsibility, it literally means the ability to give a response. And people see that as odious. I know a lot of people who try to escape responsibility, and what they find themselves doing is running headlong into even greater responsibilities. They become responsible for things sometimes it's not even theirs. And to me, that's a big problem with our society today, is that we try to shirk our personal responsibilities, but then exchange that for these greater responsibilities out here that have nothing to do with us. It's like guilt. Take guilt, for example, which I personally feel guilt is the most useless emotion that humans have. But when you feel guilty, you're taking on responsibility for something that is not entirely all yours. I mean, somebody tells me that I insulted them or I hurt them in some way, and I usually respond with, okay, tell me how and why. How did that happen, and why do you suppose you felt it was hurtful or insensitive or whatever? One of the things I've learned over the years, both as on the native path and on the Buddhist path, is to not take responsibility for other people's emotions and feelings. Because when you do that, you're taking on them, you're taking on their being. I think part of the world's problems today is also part of that I mentioned earlier, that we tend to be responsible for things that aren't ours. At the same time, we tend to see ourselves as savior type people, the superhero. And I'm wondering sometimes if that is even realistic. You know, as an adult and as a parent, as a spiritual person, someone trying to live in a good way, there's certain responsibilities that come with that. Because when you put yourself out there in front of the community, in front of the world, then you take on certain responsibilities for that. And you are under scrutiny. A lot of the times you're under a lot of scrutiny, because it seems to be that people kind of want you to trip up or make a mistake or something like that. And it's like, wow. I think personal responsibility has been, first of all, grossly underrated. Because a lot of people, I don't think, understand the personal part of that phrase, personal responsibility. I'm responsible for what I do, what I say. I'm also responsible for what I don't do and what I don't say, especially in a situation whereby I'm involved. Take, for example, my children. Okay, that's a huge responsibility. Children are a huge responsibility. And so I try to be mindful of what I say and how I say it, even when I'm exercising discipline. Because that's their first exposure to the outside world. If you do this, this is going to be the consequence. And such an interesting word, consequence. I like that word. I think responsibility and consequence are tied very closely together. Because I think when we try to escape our responsibility, there's a consequence for that, and it's probably not going to be a pleasant one. But when we take care of our responsibility, there's also consequence, but it's going to be maybe a more pleasant consequence. I tell people often that what I do not participate in, I also receive no consequences from. And if I find I'm participating in something that's not so good, then I withdraw my participation immediately, as soon as I'm consciously aware of that, because I don't want to suffer consequences. I want to enjoy consequences. So when we handle our responsibilities, we minimize the kind of bad consequences, and we maximize the more pleasant or the more positive consequences. When Scott and Becky got here today, I was trying to set up an iPad, and I found myself getting very frustrated because no matter what I did, it told me that was wrong, okay, or that was already done, and I got really frustrated. So I just kind of put it down, rather than flinging it across the room, I just set it down gently. I did that because, see, I think the internet is kind of alive a little bit. And I don't want to get it all ticked off or nothing. And I just calmly sat down and I said, I'll just wait till Becky and Scott get here, because surely one of them will know how to do that. Not that their name is Shirley, but they will know how to do this. And of course they did. After just a tiny bit of frustration, we can ask Scott about that later, getting my iPad set up, because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting my own YouTube channel, and but I'm not going to dance and sing and do a commercial right now, because this isn't the place for it. But I'm going to be taking on that responsibility. Now, that may seem not all that big a deal to some people, but to those of us who are technologically challenged, it's a little frightening. it's a new adventure for me, and I don't know how many times I've spoken in front of people. I don't care how many times I've been asked to do like these videos, or how many people may be present. I still go through this moment of terror just before I step out on the stage, or just before I get in front of the camera, because I'm thinking, what if I mess up? What if I say something that's not okay? And then I kind of chide myself a little bit, and I go, well, if you live long enough, you're going to make mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And so you acknowledge that and you move on. Maybe that's where responsibility is that when we take on responsibilities, we also need to be mindful. We need to have an awareness that we might very well make mistakes, and be able to acknowledge that and move on. That's the responsibility, I think, of making a mistake, is first of all acknowledging it, doing what I can, if possible, to correct it, and then move on. Don't stay there with it. But I think sometimes people do that. They stay with mistakes. They stay with those things that are negative. And I don't know why that is. I've asked a lot of people, I said, what is it about the negative aspects of things that is so attractive to you? You know, when you could really move on to these more positive things. And what I learned is that, first of all, negativity presents itself in a much prettier package than positivity does, because it needs that commercial to get you to buy into it. And a lot of people, negativity also garners them sympathy, acknowledgement, sometimes validation. I'm thinking to myself, wow, what is the value of having negative validation? But I'm not sure it's quite that simple, you know. And I think what it is that personal responsibility has to do with what goes on inside me, what goes on inside my mind, what goes on inside my spirit, what goes on inside my body is my responsibility. It's not yours, it's not anybody else's. I think there's some things out there in the world, in the universe, that are beyond our control. In fact, I actually believe I'm in control of nothing, absolutely nothing. But I'm always in control of how I'm going to respond or react to that. That's my personal responsibility. And I have a choice. I can react in a really bad, negative way, or I can react in a way that will bring maybe a more positive outcome. It's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to get angry. It's easy to be all kind of hateful. It's easy to be bigoted. It's easy to be, all those things are so easy. And maybe that's why there's so much of that. Because not engaging in those things takes just a little bit of effort. There's been a lot of times I had to stop and say, Will, don't go there. And sometimes I listen. And when I do, things work out much better. You know, we all have those moments when we just want to, like, okay, I just need one small stick of dynamite right now. Okay? And we all think that, okay? And that's perfectly normal. And it's perfectly okay. What's not normal, what's not okay, if you actually got a stick of dynamite and did something with it, okay? It's not always the thought that counts, okay? But even on that level, the personal responsibility is that I don't do that. That I stay in control of me and what I do or don't do, okay? It's a matter of simplicity. See, I endeavor to make my life as simple as possible. That just makes things happier for me. Simplicity to me is like when I go to the store, I don't look for name brand items. You know, laundry detergent. Me and my daughter got into a big discussion about this yesterday. she wanted this really expensive brand. I said, no, get this brand over here that only costs like 1/3 that much. Well, it won't clean it. I said, yes, it will. Read the ingredients in both of them. And they have the exact same ingredients, except the expensive brand has a little bit more perfumes in it. Those esters that you read about. Fluorocarbons, stuff like that. But it's not going to make your laundry any cleaner. You're paying for the name, not the product. So I noticed when I went out this morning to the garage to see, I saw that less expensive brand of detergent was there. That's one of the ways that we can sometimes compromise with our environment. I think my responsibility toward my children is to set the best example I know how to set for them to follow. I can preach at them, I can throw words at them. Back in the day, I could put them on restriction. I don't believe in hitting children, so my children have never been struck. There's other ways that are more effective, like lecturing. I've had my kids say, would you just beat us and be done with it? I said no, and that's why. But that's one of my responsibilities as a parent, is to give them the best tools I know how to grow and be successful in life, however they determine to define that. I can't define success for them. I can define it for me, but not you or them. But the most wonderful thing is about my children is that now I have grandchildren. So there's a bit of karma there, or as I put it, payback. It gives me such joy when I see my grandson or my granddaughters doing something that is so exact what they did at that same age. And I go, look, okay, don't you say a word. Don't you say a word. And my daughter will go, oh my God. So responsibility, my whole point with that, I think people think I get off track sometimes, but I don't. My whole point with that is that responsibility does not have to be odious. It can be enjoyable. It can be fun. You know, it's like these videos. When Becky and Scott first came to me, without even thinking, it was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just probably mess up your whole program. But they're convincing, you know. So I agreed to do it. And as soon as they left, I just went into this total panic thing. Oh my God, what am I going to talk? I don't even remember what I'm supposed to talk about. And I still don't. They have to remind me like the day they're coming, you know. Remember, we're going to talk about this today. I said, oh, okay, I'll find something. My responsibility right now toward you, whoever's watching this, whoever's listening to this, is that I give you the most accurate and correct information I know how to give, based on experience, learning, teaching, listening, absorbing. I was a mental health counselor for a very long time. I don't think I'll give an exact number because that's kind of like embarrassing. It makes me look old. But it's like more than 30 years. One of the things I learned as a mental health counselor is that's one of those times when I discovered that responsibility can be odious or it can actually be rewarding. And there were times when I absolutely did not know if I was doing the right thing or not. You know, I got into one of those dilemmas. But when I saw that client getting better, when I saw them giving up some of their symptoms or some of their habits or some of their addictions, then you know. The other thing is that I'm not going to be right every time, and neither are you. Okay, it's just not possible. The universe isn't fixed that way because it's mostly, at least for me, maybe I can't speak for you, but at least for me, some of my mistakes have been my greatest learning tools. They have helped me grow so much in my spirit, not necessarily my height, but in my spirit. Because when I first started this journey 55 some years ago, one of my goals, and it still is, people say, what is your purpose, Will? And I said, to become the best possible person I can be. And I don't think that'll ever be finished. Because as you move around, as you move along, as you travel down this path, you meet new challenges. New challenges bring new responsibilities, or different responsibilities. And when you embrace those responsibilities in a mindful way, in a compassionate way, and in a loving kindness way, you've established those three pillars of finding the end of suffering. In the native world, responsibility is a community thing. You know, you become responsible for your community, but in turn it becomes responsible for you. You know, we have customs and even ceremonies. And one of those is called the giveaway ceremony. And that was banned by the government for many years. In fact, we didn't get our religious freedom back until 1978 with the passage and ratification of the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. It was presented in Congress in 1973, but it was not ratified until 1978. Prior to that, I could have gone to jail for doing a sweat, for doing a giveaway, for sun dancing, for vision questioning, for any of that stuff. But we did it anyway. There's ways. Because when you're responsible for a whole community, you know, I sometimes use the term a terrible responsibility. And I don't mean that as in terrible yuck. I mean that is, it's a big responsibility. You know, when somebody asks me to pray for them, I don't take that lightly. I think about it. And I take on the responsibility of intercessing with the Creator of all things for that person or about that person. And that they would trust me to do that is an honor, you know. And somebody says, will you pray for me? And I said, absolutely. And I'm going to do that at exactly 9 o'clock tonight. Maybe you'll join me. I said, because praying for someone and praying about them in my mind is very different. You're perfectly capable of praying for yourself. So I pray about you. And what that means is I ask God to add my energy to yours, to make this a more powerful or more proactive thing. When I do that, I'm taking on the responsibility of following through. I've made an agreement with you that I will pray about you. And I will do that, even if I have to stop whatever I'm doing and walk outside or into my room and set up my prayer. Because I believe in active prayer. I don't believe in just looking up the sky and going, oh God, would you take it? No. I light sage, I light incense. I prepare a space for me and God to be in. I create space for me and God to be in. And a funny thing, somebody asked me just the other day, you use the word God a lot. And I'm going, yeah. And they said, but you don't believe in God. And I'm going, who told you that? Well, you always use the term creator of all things. And I said, yeah. I said, is not God the creator of all things? Oh. I said, to me it's more expressive. Call me a semantist, I don't care, but it's more expressive for me. But when I approach God, I'm also taking on the responsibility of approaching God. You know, I don't think people stop and think about that. That when you're approaching God, you're approaching something, someone, someplace that is so much vaster than you, so much greater than you, that to me it's almost a little scary sometimes. But I do it anyway. And I don't use Elizabethan English, because I have somewhat of a Southern accent. I just say, hey, Grandpa, hey, God, you know, I need your help with something right now. You know, or this other person needs your help with something. Do you think you can help them out today? Thanks. I'm okay. You gave me this day. I'm going to do whatever I can with it. So, in closing, endeavor not to look at responsibility as something that's odious. Try to look at it as something that is rewarding, something you can feel good about when you take care of it, and something that you can share with your greater environment. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I wish you the most wonderful week you can possibly have.
Thank you, Bob and Shannon. You guys are always great. I think we could have you every week and it would be fine. You'd probably get tired of that. And I really enjoy our other musicians, but we appreciate when we have a scheduling issue and you are so willing. And Bob even said he was honored. So thank you. And Will, you're just amazing. We go over and video Will. And it's just, I can just sit there and watch him and just soak up the wisdom. He's just an amazing human being. So thank you, Will. And Philip and team, yep, done it again. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you very, very much. If you are out there in the world and you have needs, either virtual or live, get hold of Philip and they will be able to take care of you. And if he can't, he'll tell you right up front. So, right?
Yep.
All right. Following this morning service, we will have our live Zoom deep dive. Will typically comes to that. So it's a good chance to ask questions, to discuss the message, just check in and actually see each other, which is great. And then on Sunday evening, 5:45 is our second broadcast of the morning service. Also, you can go to the YouTube and watch it on Sunday morning, or go back and watch any of the services on our YouTube channel, People of Diversity.
That YouTube channel is live on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, right, yeah. So, next week, reminder, we have our dear, beloved Rabbi Emerita, Pat Hickman, and her musical guest is, you want to call him a violinist or a fiddlist, whichever, Daniel Capel. So that's going to be great, on responsibility.
www.peopleofdiversity.org. That's how you can connect in with us. Use that donate button in the middle of the page, and it will bring you to a place where you can make choices and decisions and just follow your heart. On that note, we'd like to honor and say thank you and be in gratitude for those tithes and donations and offerings. So if you just take a deep breath, close your eyes, plant your feet on the ground. Spirit, thank you for all that is happening in and around the pod, both the folks that are connected to it in bringing it together, and the folks that are listening and receiving and filling up from it. We are grateful to be just a small part of this amazing process. And together we say, Amen.
Amen. Before you close out, I want to make our announcement of our event.
Yes, announce.
Okay, yes. I meant to do this earlier and I forgot. On March the 7th, at the Unity of Melbourne, we are having a pod event live. We've had virtual pod events. Yeah, we're live with people and food. We are inviting all of our speakers and to come to this event, and we're going to have dinner and just a quick program, nothing elaborate, just to introduce all of our speakers. And anyone that is interested that would like to come, we need you to let us know, because like I said, there's going to be dinner and it's free. This event is free, so we need to know how much food to get. If you would like to join us for that, it's going to be on March the 7th from 6 to 8:30, and it's going to be really cool. Most of our speakers are coming. I've not heard from a couple of them, but most of our speakers are going to be able to make it, so it's going to be really interesting and cool. So go to newwaypod@gmail.com, newwaypod@gmail.com to RSVP. And I want you to do that. I forgot the date that I said, but the event is March 7th.
Soon.
So 10 days before that. Yeah, if you think you're going to come, let us know right now, and so we can start keeping track. Or if you have any questions, newwaypod@gmail.com. Just shoot them out there to us, and we'll get back with you. So we're excited. There'll be more posted about that on Facebook and different ways of finding out information. So, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, the most important part of the service is now. If you will bring to your mind's eye anyone in your world that needs support, love, or healing, yourself included, let's put in there all the folks that are running our world and give them a good flow and positive energy about their choices and decisions. And let's push out light to all those people. And again, remember to put ourselves in the circle and open up to receive. We'll listen to this amazing song by Daniel Nahmod and drift off into to wonder. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of